I am not what you'd call a Fortnite pro, but with old Fortnite returning with the introduction of Fortnite OG, I wanted to recapture some of that skill that I used to have playing this game nearly 7 years ago. And what better way to do that than to learn a location on the Fortnite map inside and out by dropping there 100 times. I want to shout out YouTuber TheNotable, who was the first to undertake the 100 drops challenge. A link to his channel will be in the description of this video. But I won't bore everyone with the intro. I dropped Salty Springs 100 times, and this is what happened. And here we are, game number 1 of dropping into Salty Springs. I landed on the red brick house near the top of the location. This place is normally going to have 2 chests for you right off the bat. And in game number 1, I was lucky and secured an RPG out of my first chest. And so I used my RPG to lay waste to the local population of Salty Springs. I had a close encounter with this Juice WRLD skin, but was able to put him down real fast. I boxed up in one of the last circles and saw this guy fall off a mountain. 1v1 final circle, and I have an RPG and the height advantage. I spammed rockets into every single structure this man tried to place. And with a nice double pump, I was able to win the very first game, dropping Salty Springs. Game number 2, and I was feeling confident. I headed back to Red Brick House, this time securing a purple sniper from the very first chest. It's absolutely insane here. I then got a couple of kills defending my turf. Salty Springs is very central on the map, which means the action happens fast and intensely. I had great positioning late game in a metal base on top of a mountain. But unfortunately for me, the storm circle had other plans and I was forced to move. Don't worry, I'll just stand on over here and snipes it on 11 HP. I knew this was already over, but I'm gonna keep fighting valiantly. And I did fight until I was put down by a guy on the high ground. And Salty Springs proved a little too salty in game number 3. Game number 4, you already know it's Red Brick House. I managed to clumsily kill this guy during a rooftop skirmish. Then I killed this fellow who was just minding his own business. I got into a build fight with this guy and narrowly escaped death by trap. I ended the fight with a nice shotgun blast. Final circle was closing, so I built over to this random structure to find a man hiding inside. I reacted perfectly reasonably. I laid eyes on the last guy and tried to spray him down, but unfortunately he had a gold scar, and I did not. Second place, damn that stings. Game number 5, this guy introduced me to his shotgun barrel. I didn't last long. It's like I said earlier, Salty Springs is a very central location, which means 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to fight someone. And in game number 6, I lost that fight. Game number 7, this guy sprayed me down with an SMG. Turns out the Red Brick House is a very popular drop spot in Salty Springs. In this game, I was beaten to death just going for my first chest. Game number 9, I actually got the Red Brick House drop and then went about cleaning up the Salty Springs streets. But then this guy knocked me down with an RPG shot. I knew that one wasn't going to end well. Game number 10, the fabled superhero skin moved into Salty Springs, and they wanted blood. Game number 11, I tried to head to this house with the tree falling on it, but someone takes my drop, forcing me to head to this house at the bottom of the location in a panic. I loot up and then quickly foil a home invasion attempt. This trap's going to be significant in a few minutes. I get into a build fight, but end it with a nice pump shot. I get into a little fight with this guy, only for him to try and run away. Couple seconds later, he gets killed. That was by the trap I placed earlier on. Top 3 situation, I spy another player through my sniper scope and take an insanely long shot. 12 kills, great loot, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. Though that confidence was misplaced, as after getting sweated on in a build fight, I fall straight to second place, where I belong. I can tell by the length of my footage for game number 12, it did not go very well. Nope. This game started pretty good with me clearing out most of Salty Springs. This guy probably should have won this fight, but I clumsily shotgunned my way to victory. But I did not win the next one. Game 14. Game 15. This may be the worst aim in Fortnite history. And now I'm dead. Game 17 was going quite well until I didn't realise I had no materials left and died. Game 18, this man tried to run into the basement for safety, only for me to commence the Salty Springs Blitz. He was trapped with absolutely nowhere to go. I put him down fast. Unfortunately, this renegade raider then did the same to me. Game 19, I got into a build fight only for my shotgun to do 27 damage, getting me killed. Game 20, I'm back to cleaning up Salty Springs. If you ever find yourself alone in Salty Springs, these cars in the streets can give great metal. It's probably best to farm up as many as you can to get some good mats for that final circle. Strong materials can take you a long way. Here I'm able to quickly kill this guy and then immediately box up to defend from a third party. I ended up launch padding out, because I'm a coward. I got pretty low in a build fight, but thankfully my opponent borrowed my signature move and fell off the top, so I was able to quickly spray him from on high. Unfortunately for me, I ended up in another fight soon after, and I was pretty low. I was doing an alright job, until I got third partied. I gave it my all, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. Game number 21, it was insanely busy and salty, forcing me to head for the house at the bottom of the location. This place has similar loot to the red brick house, spawning 2 chests, so overall it's not a bad drop spot. But all the loot in the world won't save you from getting one-pumped. Game 22, 3 of us dropped on the same house. You see what I mean about Salty being busy? And unfortunately I had a pistol, but he had a shotgun. Game 23, I'm back to build fighting. I feel like I'm getting a little better at it. I also nabbed a nice little surprise attack kill on this guy. In hindsight, my aim was awful, but you're gonna pretend you didn't see it. And this death is another telltale sign of me not paying attention to my material count. Oh wow, another short video file. I wonder what could have happened. I want to take game 25 to point out the best location for loot in all of Salty Springs. The house with the tree falling on it in the middle of Salty Springs can spawn up to 3 chests, making it the best spot for loot in the entire location. 2 of them are on the roof and 1's in the basement, meaning you can loot up quick and have a full loadout in just a few seconds. And I used that loadout to absolutely eviscerate this man with some grenades. For some reason here I decided the Scoped AR Quickscope was the best course of action. And I carried on killing, wiping out the rest of Salty Springs. Things were going pretty well, until I got sniped. And in game 26, I didn't fare much better. Game 27, my brother and a friend of mine hopped on. No trios, so we had to play random squad fill. And my friend didn't have an OG default, but he did have Baymax with Jordans, so that's just as good. I dropped straight back into Treehouse to get my hands on some of that loot. I then used that loot to help my squad tear straight through Salty Springs. Things were going well and we wiped out every other squad in the area. Satisfied with our crusade in Salty, we moved up to Fatal Fields and got into another skirmish. I laid down some covering fire, and before you knew it, we were victorious. We even had time for a little group celebration. The last zones started closing, so we started engaging the other squads. Unfortunately, they were much better than us, and carnage started to ensue. And with just me left, I knew this wasn't going to end well. Game 28, our random teammate got separated from us, so we rushed to his rescue. It did not go very well. This squad of the sweatiest of Fortnite players laid us to waste in just a minute or so. We hadn't realised it, but our teammate had been AFK the entire time. We held out hope, desperately praying that Merriam H would return. And you'll never believe this.
Wait.
Yep, Merriam H clutched up and brought back the squad, so we went sprinting straight for zone. We had terrible loot and low heals. I could already tell this wasn't going to end fantastically. We gave it our all, scrounging for resources, but those last squads were not going to let us go very easily. We hid in a box, constantly reviving each other as we were battered by hails of bullets from the mountain. And despite everything we'd been through, we were still gunned down for 3rd place. Game 29 was over before it even really got going. And unfortunately, even with Baymax with Jordans, my friend was not able to overcome the enemy. Game 30, we got a few kills out of Salty before realising our teammate had dropped all the way over in Fatal Fields. So I declared a rescue mission and had everyone sprint on over there. I had the squad lay down covering fire while I ran in to grab the reboot card. Thankfully, we were able to take down our teammates' killers pretty quick, and then we popped the reboot. And we grabbed some pretty good loot on the way into zone. Arriving back in Salty Springs, we got into a fight with another squad, but thankfully we put them down quick. And we kept fighting, but our random teammate was pretty damn good. We picked each other up, regrouped, and then headed for zone. But we can't seem to stay away from fights as we were attacked on our way into the circle. Don't worry, we cleaned them up pretty quick. Sniper duel with the last team in the match and my brother goes down. Now it's a 3v4. But we evened the odds pretty fast. Eventually we got it down to a 2v1 in our favour, but that storm was approaching fast. I popped a launch pad to get some better positioning, but just as I was gliding away, the last guy died in storm, winning us the game. Hell yeah, feels good. Game 31, we're back to solos. It's cruel and unforgiving. Game 32, I managed to get a hell of a lot of kills out of Salty Springs. But in the end, that didn't matter. Game 33. Game 34. Game 35, I was an absolute moron and fell to my death. Game 36, the enemy lived with 1 HP, I'm never gonna get over this. And in game 37, we eliminated each other at the exact same time. I've never seen that happen before. Game 38, I'm just minding my own up. And we're back to being beaten to death in game 39. Game 40, I took down my opponent and then default danced to assert my dominance. Yeah, karma got me. Game 41, it's back to Treehouse. I looted up and got a pretty long-range kill on this guy, and took down this man for good measure. A pretty hectic build fight commenced in Salty Springs, but like I said before, I'm getting better at these. But apparently not better enough. Game 42 is a prime example of me being absolutely tragic at this game. And in game 43, I suffered the wrath of the third party. Game 44, I missed the fight-winning shotgun blast. Game 45 is just embarrassing. I go for a double pump on this guy and accidentally switch to my sniper. You're gonna pretend you didn't see that as well. Game 46, I managed to eliminate 2 guys with the same rocket. But then the local sweat moved in and evicted me from my property. Oh no, a short video. Game 48, this guy contested me for the gun and in a panic I threw my slurp juice at him. I still got him, but with gameplay like that, yeah, I kinda deserved this. Game 49, there was a man hiding in the basement. This scared the life out of me. Game 50, I gave it my all to fight this guy, but unfortunately, he could edit. Game 51 was going pretty well. I even made it to the top 5 until Solid Snake snuck up on me. Given the skin, I'm not really that mad. Then in game 52, I was attacked by a guy trying to qualify for World Cup finals. Game 53, I had absolutely horrendous loot. Guess what? I died. Game 54, I made it all the way to the top 3 before laying eyes on players who were vastly better than I am. They hunted me down like wolves that hadn't eaten in 2 weeks. It was a slaughter. I don't even want to talk about what happened in game 55. Or game 56 for that matter. I mean, what the hell was this? But game 57, this is pretty good. I started out by quickly nabbing some loot in Treehouse, but then realised Salty was far too hectic for my liking, so I left. You know, there's no reason to stay in Salty Springs that long. If you've secured some decent loot, just get the hell out of there. It's better to not die really early in the match like I've done so many times. I sacrificed these two bots to the Fortnite gods, but then immediately after the local sweat heard their screams and came to pursue me. I got off an insanely lucky pump shot and then quickly pursued into his box to finish him off, leaving me with just a little bit of health left, my god. I then found a bush that would later save my life. Told you. I took the guy out as the last few zones started to close. Top 3 situation and I was feeling the pressure. Make that top 2 because one of these guys just died. We fought for a while and Circle was getting really damn small. Circle was so small I couldn't breathe, so I took a risk and jumped down to spray into this guy's box. And because of the damage on whites, I won the heal off, and the game. Man, that felt good after dying so many times. Yet my good fortune did not carry into game 58. And in game 59, this guy was a damn good shot with the revolver. Game 60 was going great, I had 8 kills, but then I swapped to the wrong weapon while trying to double pump again. I can't believe this keeps happening to me. Game 61 was a total disaster. Then in game 62, while trying to run for safety, I was reminded why Salty Springs is such a rough neighborhood. Game 63, I nabbed a couple decent kills, but then I was killed by a guy with the Black Knight skin, so you know he was good. Game 64, it's top 5 and I'm trying to sneak. I'm not very good at it. And I'm back to being sniped in game 65. Game 66, I engage in a build fight before being shot out for 3rd place. Game 67, I nabbed a few good kills, but then someone killed me. 3 people dropped this house in game 68, you know what happens next. It's probably best I just move on from game 69. And I'd say the same for game 70 given I was trap killed, oh god. Game 71, I tried to run away from a fight with a launch pad. Still died, that Skull Trooper was ravenous. Then game 72 ended up being one of those games where you die in about 50 seconds. In game 73, I dropped on the Spire, which is this big mountain next to Salty Springs. It was a horrible mistake. Game 74, it's a 1 vs 1 in the final circle, but I'm low on materials, and he had rockets, and the high ground. It's alright, we'll make up for it in game 75. Just kidding, I'm awful. And I was somehow even worse in game 76. Game 77, we're back to another top 2 situation, but I had low HP and no heals left. Unfortunately, it was all over quick. Now, the win is close. I can feel it. Don't worry, it's coming. This guy in the basement of Treehouse was trying to go pro with his edits, but luckily for me, his editing could not save him from the pump. Here we are again, final circle, and I'm boxed up. One of the last remaining players tries to rotate using a launch pad, so I spray him down. Alright, 1v1 time. I sprayed down at him and could tell he was low, so I quickly rushed to claim the victory royale. And despite that stellar performance, game 79 didn't quite go according to plan. Game 80, I hung around Salty and farmed up some mats. I mean, look at those. My materials helped me get all the way to late game until I got sniped. It's alright, still alive and cowering. I made it all the way to the final circle, but these guys were box fighting like it was FNCS. Now it's a 1 vs 1, but I have no shields, not great HP, and the enemy's above me. Then I pulled one of the smartest plays in my Fortnite career. I shot a rocket to show him exactly where I was and then quickly snuck round back, pulling out the ultimate double pump to win the game. Oh my god, that was fantastic. But then in game 81, this guy was better than me. Then game 82 was pretty much the exact same situation. Game 83, I'm hoovering up a lot of kills. But that fleeting joy was not around for much longer. In game 84, I attracted the attention of a sweat and tried to hide. I should have known it was a fool's errand. Game 85. In Game 86, I was ferociously beaten by a member of the Salty Springs cheerleading team. In Game 87, I thought I'd cleared out Salty. I definitely hadn't. Game 88, my grey burst rifle just couldn't stand up to his shotgun. Game 89, I found an RPG, then blew myself up with it. Remember kids, don't be like me. Game 90, it's a top 3 situation, but I could tell with the way this guy was editing I wasn't going to win this build fight. In Game 91, I made it even further. It's now a 1 vs 1 in the final circle, but the last guy was way better at the game than I am, and then he dispatched of me. Right, I'm not very happy about losing that last game. It's time to lock in. Top 3 situation, and these guys are playing like it's World Cup. What the hell is this? It turns to a 1 vs 1, so I shoot the last guy down to my level. He hit me with a nasty shot for most of my HP, but then he must have thought Storm was going to finish me off or something, because he just stood there with his pickaxe out, letting me shoot him and win the game. Yeah, I have no idea what he was doing either. But in Game 93, I died in one of the most embarrassing ways possible. Game 94, I played good, but he played better. But if you thought Game 93 was embarrassing, try getting trap killed for 2nd place. Ugh. I tried to make up for it in Game 96, but got 3rd partied. Game 97, I proved myself worthy of my default skin by playing like an absolute bot. I still got 3rd though. And Games 98 and 99 were over before I even had a chance to blink. And here we are, Game 100. I really wanted to use the strategies that I picked up across the course of this 100 drops. I went straight for Treehouse to get the loot, and then tried to farm up some strong materials for that final circle. If there's one thing dropping a super sweaty location like Salty Springs has taught me, it's the importance of playing conservative. Doesn't mean I didn't grab a couple of kills. But ultimately I played things safe and used my mats to box up and stay out the way of the other players. I was just waiting for a chance, and when it became a 1 vs 1, I seized it. As I mentioned earlier, I improved a lot at build fighting across the course of this challenge, and I used those skills in this final circle to try and win this game. After playing passive the entire game, this was my time to go hyper aggressive, so I just kept hounding this guy. My superior materials helped a lot, and the guy realized he was outmatched, so he tried to flee the build fight, only to fall to his death, causing me to win game number 100. And that is an absolutely perfect way to end this challenge. I honestly believe this challenge has made me a better Fortnite player. Overall, I managed 7 wins dropping into Salty Springs, and 5 of those happened after game 50. It was great to feel myself improving across the course of those games. This has honestly been one of the most fun times I've ever had playing Fortnite. I also netted 297 kills across all my games, and that's not too bad for me. And who knows, maybe one day I'll find myself dropping into another location 100 times, but that's up to you as the viewers, so make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This has been great, but until next time, that's all folks.